Hello, welcome to Jenny's Food Network. Here I have my chopped pieces of purple potatoes. They won't bleed a lot even after you rinse them out. And when whatever leftovers you have by tomorrow, it'll bleed into the soup more. But since Freddie's mom gave it to me for free, her friends gave it to her. And here you have my garlic and ginger. It's been boiling for almost, I would say about 25 minutes. And now I have my potatoes. I was busy doing other stuff earlier, that's why I didn't get to work on the potatoes right away. But anyway, it's still fine because it still needs time to, you know, boil for the garlic and ginger because they're very strong. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. Be careful of dropping a bunch at once because it will fly into your face and arm, and the water is very hot. I'll just do this, put it in the corner like that. Here we have it. Purple potatoes. Like I said, I normally don't like to use purple potatoes because it bleeds into the food too much, into the soup that you're using it for. But they're full of antioxidants than the white color internal potatoes. Like the Idaho potatoes, you know, the russet potatoes, you know, those are like white inside, yellowish white. Those aren't they're not as healthy as the dark purple ones. Like blueberries are the #1 powerhouse of antioxidants because of the dark bluish hue color of it. So now my soup's turning purple. I'm not going to add eggs because it turned my eggs purple and it looks gross. So I'm not going to put eggs in this time. So we have the minced garlic and ginger boiled already for about 25 minutes. Now I'm adding potatoes. Give the potatoes about 20 to 30 minutes to boil. I'm going to turn the heat back up high now. When it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it back down on low, okay, so it can simmer cook. You don't want to overboil it. It's just going to end up evaporating too much of your soup. All right, while that's working, my tomatoes are all chopped up already. Here they are in chunks. I used a lot of tomatoes because my tomatoes they've been in my fridge for quite a while, so they're going to go bad if I don't use them all. So I'm going to show you next how to cut the tofu. In case those of you who are wondering how I cut my tofu, or those who have not used tofu before, I'll show you. So there's liquid inside here, so I'm going to cut in an angle and then drain it out. I'll show you right here. Here we go. Cut from one corner to the other corner. Okay. I'm going to drain it out, and I'm going to use this entire 19 ounce of tofu block, okay? It's the medium firm one, so I'll take this out. Here we go, here's my tofu. Like a rectangular block. So I'm going to bring it over here and show you how I cut it. So we're going to cut them in cubes, okay? Let me move this camcorder out. Alright, here we have it. So I've already cut the tomatoes, already cut the purple potatoes, already minced the garlic and ginger. Now, here's the tofu. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to cut them in strips like that first. About ½ an inch across for each slice. Let me zoom in more. Okay. Alright, so I'm also going to cut it the other way as well, across. So they're in cubes, but then the strips are too long, right? So then I'm going to cut it across in the bottom half to make it more in cubes so they're not like long strips. So then now I'm going to cut it across the other side. Well, for now, I think it's best to just cut it in the bottom first because once you start cutting across, it's going to break apart. Okay, so did you see how I cut that? I just hold the top and slice it underneath and hold it like that. Okay, now I'm going to cut across now. As you can see, they're in little rectangular cubes. Just so you get an idea. That's how I normally like to cut my tofu when I put them in soups or stir fries. So I'm going to continue cutting across. just so when you get scoops of soup, you'll get a nice even distribution of tofu. See how beautiful that looks? There you go. So the potatoes are going to go in there for about 20 minutes, or about 25 minutes would be good. It's on high right now. So while the potatoes are working, I could just go ahead and put the tofu in, and tofu will absorb and it will expand, okay? So, zoom back out. Okay. So the ginger, sometimes there'll be the woody part of the peel. The peel, the woody part of the ginger, it will float, so you could scoop that out. You don't want to eat that. So I'm going to get my little... Oh, great! You let Ken out. You let Ken out. You didn't know he was out. You're not supposed to let him out. Now he's got the beads everywhere.
Oh my.
That's why we had Ken in the plate. I didn't know he was out. We're supposed to not let him play with that. Right, I'm in the middle of a video. Alright, Ken just knocked over a whole container of beads. Okay, so scoop that out.
You guys help pick it up?
Okay, so just scoop up the wooden stem part, the woody peel of the ginger, and throw that out. Why didn't you say something, Keo, when you saw Ken messing around? Busy cooking here. Okay, so go ahead and it's on high, it's starting to boil a little more now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the tofu in. There we go. If you don't want it to splatter at you, put it to one end of the pot as it piles up like a little hill, so it doesn't splatter when you drop it in. So you could put a bigger portion at a time without having it splatter on you, because the soup is very hot. So now I'm going to go ahead and stir it. And like I said, the tofu, it will absorb and it will expand and get more spongier looking, okay? And it will get bigger when it's getting boiled more. So that's good for that for now, and I'm going to let it cook for another 20 minutes, and it should be ready for seasoning. But you know what? Since I'm already here, I still have some room left up here, you see? I still have some room left on the edge. That's when later I'm going to add my tomatoes in. Because if I fill up the water too high to here, when I add the tomatoes in, it's going to overflow onto the stove. And we don't want that. It's going to be a big mess. So I'm going to leave some room there, okay, to put some tomatoes in. And right now, if I really want to, I can go ahead and start seasoning it. I always make my soup with the vegeta seasoning, and I like to use the fish sauce. That makes my soup taste amazing. If you have other ideas that you want to use, then don't be afraid to do so. So this is what I like to use. My 3 Crabs brand fish sauce. It's got pink at the top and white in the bottom. I always mention people how it looks like, because there's so many different labels out there, different bottles and plastic squeeze bottles. It gets all confusing how it looks like. And the crabs are green. And here's the vegeta seasoning. For a 7-quart size pot, I usually like to use about 4. I'll use, let me see, I'll use 3.5 scoops, okay? 3.5 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3.5. This is a 7-quart soup pot. And my fish sauce, I'm running low, but luckily I have a couple bottles that I bought extra. So I'm going to put some fish sauce in there. And if you're new to cooking, make sure you taste test as you go, okay? Until you are happy with your flavors. And don't overdo in seasoning because it can get very salty and high sodium, and that's not good for your blood pressure. All right, I'm gonna cover it. We're gonna wait until it's ready for the tomatoes. Okay? Thanks for watching.